पीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे माधव जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज भगवद गीता की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि 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 बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषाभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो ब्रह्मण्य देवाय गोब्राह्मण हिताय च जगद्हिताय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। प्लीज रिसाइट ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Welcome everyone to tonight's Bhagavad Gita class. We are reading from the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita entitled The Universal Form, text number 8. It goes as follows. Na tumam shakshyase drashtum Na tumam shakshyase drashtum Aninaiva svachakshusha अनेनैव स्वचक्षुषा दिव्यं ददामि ते चक्षुः दिव्यं ददामि ते चक्षुः पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम् पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम् न तु मां शक्ष्यसे द्रष्टुम् अनेनैव स्वचक्षुषा दिव्यं ददामि ते चक्षुः पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम् दिव्यं ददामि ते चक्षुः पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम् न तु मां शक्ष्यसे द्रष्टुम् न तु मां शक्यसे द्रष्टुम् अनेनैव स्वचक्षुषा अनेनैव स्वचक्षुषा दिव्यं ददामि ते चक्षुः पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम् पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम् न never tu but mam me shakyase are able drashtum to see anena with these eva certainly swachakshusha your own eyes divyam divine dadami I give te to you chakshuhu eyes pasha see me my yogamaishwaram inconceivable mystic power. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore, I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. Purport. A pure devotee does not like to see Krishna in any form except his form with his two hands. A devotee must see his universal form by his grace, not with the mind, but with spiritual eyes. To see the universal form of Krishna, Arjuna is told not to change his mind but his vision. The universal form of Krishna is not very important. That will be clear in subsequent verses. Yet, because Arjuna wanted to see it, the Lord gives him the particular vision required to see that universal form. Devotees who are correctly situated in a transcendental relationship with Krishna are attracted by loving features, not by a godless display of opulences. The playmates of Krishna, the friends of Krishna and the parents of Krishna never want Krishna to show his opulences. They are so immersed in pure love that they do not even know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In their loving exchange, they forget that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that the boys who play with Krishna are all highly pious souls, and after many, many births, they are able to play with Krishna. Such boys do not know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They take him as a personal friend. Therefore, Shukadeva Goswami recites this verse, Ittam satam brahma sukhanubhutya dasyam gatanam paradaivatena maya sritanam naradarakena sakyam vijarhu krita punya punjah. Here is the Supreme Person who is considered the impersonal Brahman by great sages, the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotees, and a product of material nature by ordinary men. Now, these boys, who have performed many, many pious activities in their past lives, are playing with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, chapter 12, text number 11. The fact is that the devotee is not concerned with seeing the Vishwarupa, the universal form, but Arjuna wanted to see it to substantiate Krishna's statements so that in the future people could understand that Krishna not only theoretically or philosophically presented himself as the supreme, but actually presented himself as such to Arjun. Arjun must confirm this because Arjun is the beginning of the parampara system. And those who are actually interested in understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna and who follow in the footsteps of Arjun should understand that Krishna not only theoretically presented himself as the Supreme, but actually revealed himself as the Supreme. The Lord gave Arjun the necessary power to see his universal form because he knew that Arjun did not particularly want to see it, as we have already explained. Mukam karoti vachalang pangum langhayate garim yat kripa tamaham mande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam. So, we are continuing from where we ended yesterday's class, where Krishna told Arjun, "O Arjun," just yesterday's verse, "whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire to see, and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything moving and non-moving is here complete in one place." So, yesterday we started explaining that from the point of view from the spiritual world, Goloka, Vrindavan, and the spiritual Vaikuntha planets, how this material world looks like. It is very much similar to a soap bell which is floating in the air. When you blow, you take soap and you mix it with water and you blow it through a little hole, it becomes a soap bell and it starts to float like that. So I don't know if you have seen some artists who do some arts with that. What they do, they don't blow the soap bell with air. They take a cigarette and they blow into a soap bell with smoke. So then you see a soap bell floating with a color in it. You know? So you can imagine something similar. You're looking from Golok and you see a watery substance, round, and within that is a cloudy substance, not very much visible. That's how the material world looks like from the Vaikuntha planets. It's like a sky in the cloud. And devotees think you have fallen down. You haven't fallen down, you have fallen up. Because the sky floats in the sky. A cloud floats in the sky. Whatever happens there, well, it's considered a fall down because your consciousness is being stolen away. So, when you become curious, I would like to be in that mystical, watery substance, the Viraja river, floating like a soap bell, and inside there is some darkness there. What would be there in the darkness? You know, like there's the horror stories. You know, like when the sun goes down, then and the darkness veils the world. Then they crawl out of their holes and they go into the darkness. They embrace the darkness. Anyway, these are horror stories. And yes, some jivas, they desired to embrace the darkness. So they said, what is that? We always see it there. It appears and disappears. Well, what is it? Everything is full of light and full of enjoyment here. Eternal. So they don't go there. It's a jail. Jail? Why is it a jail? For those who are not fit for Vaikuntha. Not fit for Vaikuntha? Other jivas not fit for Vaikuntha and Golok? Everyone is here in bliss. Yes, but there is also a jail. I want to see that. I want to see who's so stupid and foolish that he doesn't want to stay here. And then it all started. Curiosity killed the cat, they say. Right? The cat was killed. Why? Because the cat is curious. He wants to know everything. Right? So in the search for milk or food, he goes here and there where he should not go. And then a vase falls on his head and the cat is dead. That's the cat. So we wanted to enter there. We were warned by Krishna, it says 3 times, don't go there. It's not for you. You won't be happy there. No. I want to know. Especially when you say no, then I say yes. Because that's the mind of the jivas, right? Don't think of a watermelon. Tomorrow we want to have watermelon for Frühstück. The mind works like that. So we wanted to go into that cloud. Okay, Krishna said, okay, fine. You know, you don't want, stay with me here. Okay, go to that cloud. I'm also there, but in another form. In another form? Oh, you thought maybe he has another colored turban, maybe another flute. But when you went through that river, it turned out to be a huge river. It's like an ocean. And in that dark cloud, there's another ocean called Causal Ocean. And there, Krishna is in a huge, gigantic form called Mahavishnu. And he is in sleep, in yoga nidra. What is this? He is in yoga and also in nidra. Yeah, it's called samadhi. From that angle, how is it samadhi? Why does he want to forget? He's not forgetting the spiritual world. He's meditating in yoga. But this outer form is Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gagana Sadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalanayanam Yogi Virgyana Gamyam Vande Vishnum Bhavabhayaharam Sarvaloka Ekanatham. So he's very much peaceful. He's lying on Ananta Sesha, and Mother Lakshmi is massaging his feet, and he's breathing. He's breathing in yoga, like pranayam. Puraka, Kumaka, stop the breathing. Rechak. Breathing out, holding. Again, a kind of Kumbhaka. And then inward. And he's doing this again and again and again and again. Now, when we do this, nothing really happens. But when he does that, when he breathes out, many, many millions of universes come out of his breath and out of his pores, like that. And they come out of his body like golden eggs, and they fall on the like snow on the causal ocean and drift there. And then gradually they coagulate into just like frog eggs, or like on Ekadashi you eat sabudana, we call that? Tapioca, yes. In Hindi they say sabudana. Anyway, you cook it and it looks like that. But now imagine that in each and every tapioca ball, a small little black spot starts to grow into a trembling embryo like with frog eggs. And it takes shape, it becomes like a fish, and then it becomes a little frog. So in each universe, something similar happens. First of all, Mahavishnu is lying there, and when he is breathing in, then there is no manifestation, or all manifestation goes back into him because he's breathing in. Even time enters his existence, and there is no time in Kumbhaka. Then when he breathes out, also time manifests, right? Like that. And in one breath, everything is happening. Time starts to spin around, and it starts to churn up the shadow of Lakshmi Devi on the causal ocean. Lakshmi Devi is massaging the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, and her shadow is falling on the waves of the causal ocean. And this shadow is called in the Brahma Samhita as Mool Prakriti. The root of all Prakriti is the shadow of Lakshmi. And that is the original form of Parvati or Durga. Then when these eggs have arisen in that shadowy area, then Vishnu casts his glance, his third eye opens, and a laser comes out, the Jyotirlingam, like a laser. And it goes directly towards the shadowy area of Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi's shadow is Durga, Vishnu's shadowy glance is Shambhu. So they mix there, and the original Shiva Lingam comes into existence. The form of the Shiva Lingam is the penetration of the Shiva Jyotirlingam into Prakriti. And then, actually that situation in which Shambhu and Prakriti meet, that's called Vasudeva Sattva. Yes, that is pure consciousness. Everything there is still in pure consciousness. Why? Because the jivas are put in deep sleep. Nobody's there to have an ego or to cry for bread or whatever it is. Everyone is in deep sleep. So nobody is there to create some disturbance. So everything is in pure consciousness. So, but by the force of time and the glance of this Mahavishnu as Shambhu, then Prakriti starts to wake up. And Prakriti is a state of material nature in Vikriti. Vikriti means disturbance. Unless you mix, unless you fluff it up, unless you put a lot of movement in milk, then ghee, butter doesn't come out. It requires a lot of labor, right? Like the gopis used to do. With the churning rods, they were mixing and mixing. It requires a lot of mixing of milk, and then gradually, yes, makhan comes out, butter comes out, like that. So this Prakriti is being churned by the force of time. Time is like a wheel, Kala Chakra. and it mixes and mixes and mixes. And yes, what happens? The elements start to stick on the walls of the eggs, and it starts to grow inward into the grosser elements. These golden eggs are of the shape of ego, but it is not Jiva's ego, it's the ego of Vishnu. It's the final layer, ego, and from there manifests the different elements. Ego manifests in three modes of nature, which is goodness, passion, and ignorance. From mode of goodness come the controllers later on, and from passion come the knowledge acquiring senses, and from the mode of ignorance come the gross elements. So, because these eggs, they grow in size, in the sense of the shells, they grow inward, then it is a process of condensation and solidification of the elements, and Goddess Kali, not the Devi, but the supreme consciousness of Vishnu in Yoga Nidra, she starts to bind the different subatomic particles into atoms, and from atoms into molecules. And in this way we get from ego intelligence, from intelligence we get mind, from mind we get ether, then from ether we get air, from air we get fire, from fire we get water, and from water we get earth, right? So the question might arise, do we see that in nature, that from fire water arises? Have you ever seen that? Yeah. Ever seen that? But it says in the Bhagavatam like that. You can do a little experiment. You take a candle, and then what you do with the candle, you put a little piece of iron, like a cup, on top of it, on the flame. Don't let it extinguish. You will see some condensation will come in your cup. There is also water in fire. Water comes from fire. Somehow or other it is like that. And from water comes fire. How's that? Bhagavatam says, from water you can create fire. Now look in when it is a thunderous rain cloud there in the sky. Don't you see lightning? What is lightning? Fire. Comes from water. You see? So these things are there in the Bhagavatam. We are not so much conscious of that. How does earth come from water? Ever seen earth coming from water? When I was in high school, then we had the first class in physics. And there were these strange questions that one of the questions was, does sand dissolve in water? Now some of the girls who only know how to become beautiful, they put, yes, sand dissolves in water. I was thinking, what are they thinking of? So the teacher said it's wrong. So otherwise you cannot go to the beaches because they've all dissolved. In water. Water doesn't dissolve, and these kind of questions were there. But you see, when rain falls and the drops fall on the ground, then you observe when water is evaporated, doesn't it lay behind a spot of sediments? Well, that is earth in very fine mineral form, right? You can see when electrolysis happens in water, certain elements come into existence, which are actually earthly. So you can see from, you have sky, you have the blue sky, and then these airy clouds come into existence, water and air shape. So from ether comes air, and from air then comes fire, lightning, and then rain comes, and from rain comes earth. You see the sequence, Prabhupada says also. The sequence is there. You can see it happening like that. So, of course, someone that is very angry, you can see from mind comes ether, from ether comes air, and then comes fiery anger. From somebody's angry mind, you can see something like that. But anyway, this is how in the realm of Mahavishnu, everything is being connected, created, knit together, the different elements. And then when the universe is ripened, all the shells have ripened just like an egg of a bird, then it is actually the time for Mahavishnu to glance again and now inject all the jivas in the different universes. And you were destined, you had a ticket, you had a Air Shambhu ticket. You came with Air Shambhu and the airlines, and you can enter into this universe by the power of Shambhu. And when you were injected in here, you didn't come alone. You came also with all the other jivas and also with Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. They're all in the same glands. They come all together. And that Shambhu starts now to awaken the universal eggs. And Mahavishnu, he has Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu has all the jivas in his body. And they push, they want to get out, they want to take birth now. And that Vishnu gets pregnant. Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. He's lying over the ocean of birth. And from his navel comes a lotus. In this world with humans, the lotus grows inward, called the placenta. You might know about that. A baby is in a bag. It's a lotus-like bag inside. With devatas, that bag grows outward. So Vishnu is not following the human system; he's following the devata system. That where the embryo grows, it's out of his, and it comes out like a lotus, and then Brahma takes birth, and then Brahma starts to create all kinds of amazing things. Now, the actual universal form, the form of the universe, as we know, is Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu himself, plus the entire combination of elements of the whole universe. All of that together. Now, it looks like an egg, ball, round shape, nothing really special. But when it takes up a form of 1,000 eyes and 1,000 hands and 1,000 legs, it becomes very interesting. So, and that he describes how he is present in every atom, in every being, as the ability in man, fine speech in women, among animals he's the lion. That means he's all these different qualities. He injects all that among the different species, like that. So this is actually the universal form. So now, very interesting thing is that in the universal form, time is not so much a controlling element. Because time is not past, present, and future, like linearly. It's all there in one place, past, present, and future, as Krishna says here. You can see in the same place past, in the same place present, and the same place you can see the future. And then Prabhupada also says there, even the most advanced scientists cannot see what is going on in other parts of the universe. See? They can't, because this creation started from another dimension of deep sleep. Even scientists fall asleep there. How will they see that dimension? The dimension where everything is in a causal state. The universe is in its causal state, in a seed form. The jivas are in deep sleep. Like the cause of the material nature is the shadow of Lakshmi in a causal state. The causal state is the time force, and also the outcoming from the third eye of Mahavishnu, the jivas. And everyone is there in a deep sleep state. You can't see anything. You can't say anything. You can't even protest. You can't be an atheist either that God doesn't exist. So everything is not so much manifest. It's a causal state. So that is the substratum of what everything here exists. It's in a state of deep sleep. And therefore this world is very inert. It doesn't protest when you throw a ball on the wall. Hey, don't hit me, The wall doesn't protest because he's in another inert state of consciousness. So then when Brahma takes birth, and Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu is also there, then the realm of the controllers come. The universal consciousness are being projected or created by Lord Brahma. First come the four Kumaras, then Rudra, Shiva. Then you have all the devatas, and in different modes and in different temperaments, modes of nature, different characters, these creations come into being. Brahma comes in a mode of sleep, then the ghosts take birth. He wants outstretched and yawning, then the snakes come out. And in this kind of way, the jivas, they kind of push themselves out of his body, and blueprints are born. Because this is the realm of the subtle. It is not of the deep sleep realm of a seed stream. No. Or these subtle things, mental state is also already created. And on the mental state, the gross state is created here. Now, interestingly enough, the Virata form is also on the level of the mind. Right? You have external consciousness, Jagran, from this world, all the gross elements you can see. When you fall asleep, all this is switched off, and you go into a dream state. And then you see other things. You see things which are not possible in this gross world, though they try so much with the virtual reality and all kinds of things, but it's simply not possible. You see things there. So the Virata Rupa is also in the Swapna state, in that state. So Prabhupada says, not with the mind you can go there. So exactly what I'm trying to say here, If you go under the influence of material nature into swapna, into dreaming and into deep sleep, then you're controlled by her and you can't see really anything. But if you go there with your eyes open, not really eye open, your consciousness is still awake, and you go in a deep meditative trance into that dimension, then you'll be able to see, with the blessings, if you're pure enough, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, you can travel in your subtle body and meet them in person. That power is given to humans who are sober, and then you get these kind of sober abilities to meet the devatas. But here's a great point. Prabhupada says, um, not with the mind, but with spiritual eyes can this universal form be seen. So now spiritual eyes, why does he say like that? It is still a material form, he says in one sense. It is because devatas, also in the realm of dreams, they can choose not to be seen. You see? You have your mind. You can go there and travel with your mind, but that doesn't mean you can see them. If they don't want, they can become invisible, antardhyan, power. So this is meant here. But if he wants to reveal himself, even on the gross Jagran level, he can reveal himself. But generally he does in the Swapna realm or in the Sushupti realm. He does like that. So again and again, Prabhupada stresses that this universal form is not so important for devotees. Where are the devotees situated? In Jagran, external consciousness, in Swapna, dreaming, or in Sushupti, deep sleep, causal? In neither of them. Devotee is supposed to be in Turiya, the fourth level, which is beyond the causal ocean, where it all started. What is beyond the causal ocean? How did I start the lecture? See, now we're traveling from inside to outside. Then we travel from outside into inside, this material world. So what is beyond the causal ocean? You're listening with one ear. I do so much my best to make things so clear. Right? Yes, from Vaikuntha we're looking at that cloud with smoke in it, isn't it? That bubble with smoke. Afraid.
I had anyway this question. Does it mean in the spiritual world they see the material world?
Yes. Therefore curiosity comes up. Yeah. But therefore once you haven't gone there, so no, I don't want to go there anymore. One who goes back to God, it never returns. It's just like when you enter a bar, which is full of smoke and marijuana smells and meat. I don't want to go there anymore. You have to take 10 times a bath, you feel so contaminated, you know? Like the other day, we were going for dentist. You had to pass through so many dirty smokes and smells. I was like, run and come back quickly. So you went, you got all your lessons, you came back. You don't want to go there anymore. That's the material world with three levels of consciousness, all covering the Atmic consciousness of the spirit soul. The relationship is covered, you see. Therefore it says, Krishna Bahir Mukha Jeev Bhogavancha Kare. He wanted to go and enjoy there. So he had to forget his relationship with Krishna. So Mahavishnu covers that. Right? And he gives you other kinds of consciousness. He gives you a consciousness which is fit for enjoying matter. But for that, you have to cover yourself with a subtle body of mind, intelligence, and ego, which is gotten from Brahma. And then material nature does the rest. You get, according to your karma, a German body, and Dutch body, an Indian body, American body, or nobody. There are also beings who don't have any body, just subtle, like that. So then you can enjoy the way you liked, but you have forgotten your relationship. And it takes such a hard time to get out of this conditioning. It is really Durga, very difficult to get out, you see. So that is the story of the universal form. And we're going to see some, you want to have another 5 minutes? I'm going to tell you something about below the earth. What is below the earth? Let us see if we can get some. When the lotus is created upon which Brahma is born, there is also a stem of the lotus. And in the stem, there are 14 planetary systems. So we know about the heavenly planets, Bhur, Bhuva, Swar, Jana, Tapa, Mahar, Satya, etc., etc. But below the earth, in the darkness, when there is no sunlight, there are also beings. They are shiny, slimy, lengthy, Sometimes they have legs, sometimes they don't have legs. Let us see what is there. This is from the Srimad Bhagavatam. My dear king, beneath this earth are 7 other planets known as Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patal. I've already explained the situation of the planetary systems of Earth. The width and the length of the 7 lower planetary systems are calculated to be exactly the same as those of Earth. They are talas. Talas means flat, not gola. They're talas. That means they are flat regions just horizontally with the Earth. So you dig into the Earth, and the first one is Atala. Just hear this. You want the Sanskrit? Or skip the Sanskrit? Okay. Eteshu hi bilasvargeshu swargat api adhika kama bhogaishwarya ananda bhuta vibhuti bihi samriddha bhavanodya krida vihareshu daitya danava danava kadravyena nitya pramoditanurukta kalatrapatya bandhu suhrit anuchara griha pataya ishwaradapi apratihata kama maya vinoda nivasanti. 5th canto, 24th chapter, text 8. In these 7 planetary systems, which are also known as the subterranean heavenly planets, the heavens, the Bila Swarga, there are 5 beautiful houses. There are very beautiful houses, gardens, and places of sense enjoyment, which are even more opulent than those in the higher planets, because the demons have a very high standard of sensual pleasure, wealth, and influence. Most of the residents of these planets, who are known as Daityas, Danavas, and Nagas, live as householders. Nobody's brahmachari. Their wives, children, and friends and society are fully engaged in illusory material happiness. The sense enjoyment of the demigods is sometimes disturbed, but the residents of these planets enjoy life without disturbances. And it's really full of Maya. Anything you like, you can get. You see, when I was a student, I used to watch these science fiction movies because I was really into science. And science fiction basically means the dreams of scientists. Then they make that into a serial or whatever it is. And one of the things they wanted to create, a machine in which you can just tell him, you put in a rock, okay, dissolve the rock. So the machine will just make it into atoms. Okay, now make a piece of bread. And it prints out a piece of bread, you can eat it. That's their dream. Make a 3D printer by which you can materialize this world. And actually, they're doing pretty well. They have made a 3D printer. You take a photo from the front and from the side. You put it in that little thing. It just starts to mix all the information and comes out. There are 2 printers, left and right. And they print. And you see a little statue of yourself growing out of the plastic, liquid plastic. It's called the 3D printer. It's amazing. These things exist already. But you can't eat it. They're only done for souvenirs. But maybe in future they will try to create. But guess what? The full creation is not only in the gross matter, as I said. There is also subtle creation. And there is Atmic level also. So you eat that, you might become very sick. Because there is no prana, there is no consciousness, there are no jivas in there who can give you that energy. So what will you eat? I see, you're eating only gross things. They had done some experiment, is that soldiers who go on fighting in wars, they need bread to eat. But if you're there for a year, and then how do you take your food with there? It will starts to rot, fungus will grow and things like that on your bread. So they said, what is the cause that this fungus grows? It is the oxygen within bread. So you seal it, make it oxygen free, no oxygen, put nitrogen in there and seal it. Then it can stay for 3 years fresh, something like that, bread. And yes, United Nations soldiers, they eat donuts and breads, which are vacuum packed and nitrogen cleaned, so it becomes fresh for a long time. So it seems like, it's eatable, humans eat it. They took a piece of it and throw it for a pigeon. What did the pigeons do? They eat it right away. They can see it. This is not food. There is no life. See, humans create so many things, and they're not aware of the cancer and all the problems it will create because you can't. Seeing is believing, right? That's the problem. Then the Nagas are very clever. If seeing is believing, then I can shift shape myself into a human. And seeing is believing, so nobody can blame me that I'm a snake. So these are the Nagas. Let's further on see what they are doing. Everything is illusory there. They can create illusions. Just like in Lanka. Then Ravana's minister said, "My dear Lord, Sita will never accept you as long as Ram is alive." Ravan got an idea. As long as Ram is alive, huh? Okay, let that problem be solved by me. So he went to Sita and he created the cut head of Ravan made of Maya, of illusion. And he presented it to Sita. "See, Sita, your Lord who came to protect you, he's killed now." And Sita was crying and crying and crying. What is this? She is in Maya Nagari, right? The topmost city ever made by Maya. Maidanav and Vishwakarma and all Mayapatis live there, lords of illusory magic and stuff like that. Ravana was also, he knew about all types of illusory powers he had. He could do anything. So he had created the head of Ram. It looked really real. And Sita started crying and crying and cursing him. "You have killed my Lord. How nice would it have been if I would have seen you dying in his hands?" And then all of a sudden he got a message. "You have to come into the parliament because you are very much needed." He said, "Leave it." So, "No, immediately you have to come, sir, because there is some danger, this and that." So when he left, he couldn't maintain that illusion and it disappeared. This is Lanka Nagari. Amazing, huh? Illusions. The demons. Listen to what happens here. The planets enjoy life without disturbances. Thus they are understood to be very attached to illusory happiness. My dear king, in the imitation heavens known as the Bilaswargas, there is a great demon named Maidanava, who's an expert artist and architect. He has constructed many brilliant decorated cities. There are many wonderful houses, walls, gates, assembly houses, temples, yards, and temple compounds, as well as many hotels serving as residential quarters for foreigners. So you see, though they are demons, they have temples, right? Even the demons have some piety with them. So you can imagine if people in this day and age, how low they are even more fallen than the demons because they don't have any temples. Demons have temples. The houses for the leaders of those planets are constructed with the most valuable jewels. And they're always crowded with living entities known as Nagas and Asuras, as well as many pigeons, parrots, and similar birds. All in all, these imitation heavenly cities are most beautifully situated and attractively decorated. The parks, gardens are in the artificial heavens surpass the beauty of the upper heavenly planets. The trees in those gardens, embraced by creepers, bend with heavy burden of twigs with fruits and flowers, and therefore they appear extraordinarily beautiful. So there are also fruits and flowers without sunlight. I see, they grow without sunlight. That beauty could attract anyone and make his mind fully blossom in the pleasures of sense gratification. There are many lakes and reservoirs with clear, transparent water, agitated by jumping fish and decorated with many flowers, such as lilies, koalayas, kalharas, and blue and red lotuses. Pairs of chakravak and many other water birds nest in the lakes and always enjoy in a happy mood, making sweet, pleasing vibrations that are very satisfying and conducive to enjoyment of the senses. Since there is no sunshine in those subterranean planets, time is not divided into days and nights, and consequently, fear produced by time does not exist. It is really imitation, like Golok. There is really no time. Here it seems there's no time because there's no day and night. So how do you know how old you are? How will we measure your time? Many great serpents reside there with gems on their hoods, and the effulgence of these gems dissipates the darkness in all directions. Since the residents of these planets drink and bathe in juices and exilers made from wonderful herbs, they are free from all anxieties and physical diseases. They have no experience of gray hair, wrinkles, or invalidity. Their bodily luster does not fade. Their perspiration does not cause a bad smell. And they are not troubled by fatigue or lack of energy or enthusiasm. Enthusiasm due to old age. They live very auspiciously and do not fear death from anything but death established time, which is the effulgence of the Sudarshan Chakra of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When the Sudarshan disc enters those provinces, the pregnant wives of the demons all have miscarriages due to fear of its effulgence. Right? This is the first one. This is Atal. There is one city named Bhogavati. Listen. As Bhogavati, the capital of Nagaloka, is protected by the Nagas, so was Dwarka protected by the descendants of Vrishni, Bhoja, Madhu, Dasharha, Arha, Kukur, Andhaka, etc., who are as strong as Lord Krishna. The Nagaloka planet is situated below the Earth planet, and it's understood that the sun rays are hampered there. The darkness of the planet is, however, removed by the flashes of the jewels set on the hoods of the Nagas, celestial serpents, and it's said that there are beautiful gardens, rivulets for enjoyment of the Nagas. It is understood here also that the place is well protected by the inhabitants. So there are many stories. I'll end with this last one. There are many stories in Indian folk tale, you can say. Maybe it's based on scripture. I haven't read it actually, but that because it's so close to Earth, that these Nagas who can shift shape, take up another form, they come on the Earth's surface. And they take up human shapes. And they do their dances. They also procreate. They even have a dynasty on Earth. And a Naga Vansha, like that. So, I haven't personally seen a Naga turning into a human and backward. But these things have been seen probably by humans. And even some movies have been made in India about these kind of things. Ichchadhari Nag, a Nag who can take up any shape they like. So they are also there on Earth, you have to understand. Among the reptiles, you have the legged reptiles, like lizards, and the non-legged reptiles, like the snakes. You also have snakes with wings, like a bat. So there are many, many strange reptiles living under the earth. Let them remain there. Any questions or comments? Yes.
I was wondering, isn't it that vegetables need the moonshine to grow?
Yes, exactly. You're right.
Vegetables are growing under.
Because moon rays, they contain amrit and taste. If you just could taste moonlight, it's so delicious. And that has to enter leaves in order to create juices, like spinach and others. They need moonlight. But everything can be faked and imitated in Kali Yuga. So why can the Nagas not do? I mean, we just invented LED light recently. Why? Because, we are realizing that the gas, the fuel, the oil is not going to eternally, support us. So we have to become very careful with the gift Mother Earth has given us. So don't you want to have just light and not glowing light? This light creates about 90% heat and only 10% light from all the energy in there. And a LED light is the way around, only 10% heat and 90% light. So it's much more economical. So we just invented it. Basically what a LED is a crystal. If you beat a crystal, you'll see it. If it is dark, some sparks, they come up. So they discovered some stones, they can produce fire. And the way around also, when you put electricity in it, the crystal starts to change its color. So you can have red LED lights, green red lights, etc. LED lights. And then the snakes, however, they don't need electricity. They already have it by themselves. They have these nagmanis on their head and they shine. Right? And it says that the nagins, they have so much beauty that they look in your eyes and hypnotize you. And they come to you and they'll eat you in this way. These snakes, you should not look in the eyes also. There are many, folk tales I can't support because I don't know where it's mentioned in Shastra or if it is true, is that it says a naga, when it is killed, you should burn the head, burn the whole body. Because if you leave the body, in one piece, there is some memory in the eyes and in the body of the snake. Then when its couple comes, the other mate comes, and he looks in the eye, And she sees then who, in the eyes she can see who are the persons who killed this snake. And she will take revenge upon all of them. Because snakes are by nature very envious. You don't do them anything, then they bite, just like scorpions. Therefore it says sadhus are happy when snakes and scorpions are killed. Right? Because they're envious by nature. Does it answer your question about the moonshine?
So meaning they don't need moonshine.
They don't need moonshine. I can tell you a little, funny thing. The Dutch are known to be the most greediest of all the Europeans, right? So there is plenty of rain, plenty of water in Holland, If one of the dikes breaks, half of Holland is underwater, there are places nearby Gouda, southwest Holland, which are 6 meters below sea level. So if something happens there, you get 6 meters of water on your head, And they're happy to live there, just like Nagas, below. Now what happened? Despite having so much water, they discovered that the juicy, I call that, mandarins, oranges, mandarins, they come from Israel, big ones, really. So they investigated how they are cultivated there. They have drop irrigation. Means they calculate how much the plant needs and what is the maximum amount, because if you give too much, it's lost anyway, and it evaporates this and that, and how much light should you give, how much should you not give, what kind of extra light you have, all this they calculated. Now, these kind of things are not needed in Holland, right? Maybe extra light, but you don't have to add any water. But there's drop irrigation because there is not so much water there in the Jordan and in this Arabian desert, right? So the Israelis found their technology and they're creating this. So the Dutch wanted to follow them. So they made tomatoes with drop irrigation, big balls, beautiful, and they were sent to Germany. And the Germans said, "This is not a tomato, this is a Wasserball." And they're sending them back to Holland. And tasteless water balls, and there was no fruit flesh in there. And then, I was thinking, these guys are so greedy. At that time, I was studying actually tropical agriculture and the genetics. Along with that, part of that study was genetics. I was just laughing when I heard this. There is no lack of water in Holland. There's so much water. You find if you go towards Rotterdam, Amsterdam, every old house, there is a hook built on a wall for a boat. Guess for what reason? If something happens, your socks get wet, you have to get into the boat, otherwise you'll sink. So that's how it is, And still, they do drop irrigation and create Wasserballa to send to Germany. And they would send back. No taste, no moonshine, nothing. And then I remembered that, moonshine gives taste to vegetables. I was just laughing about this, like you're saying, it's really true. And something else?
I didn't understand. How is this? You said how demigods give birth, not from the womb.
See, what I heard in my Gurukul is that when humans take birth, they grow, the lotus grows inside. The navel is pushed inside, right? So the umbilical cord grows inward. Whereas with the devatas, the umbilical cord comes out of the body. And the placenta, what is called the bag in which the baby is, inside the belly. Yes, devatas have. The pregnancy comes outside in the form of a lotus. It's not horrible, slimy, stinky, like it is with humans, It is beautiful, like a lotus, it pops out. That principle comes out, and then it only happens when the women on Swarga have only 1 year to live. They're wearing garlands, which never fades. But if it starts to fade, then okay, I have only 1 year left on earth, on Swarga. So then they become pregnant and they give birth to a devata. And these devatas, they don't have any, pampers. What's pampers? They don't have any pampers, lila. It's just like they take birth and they become 14 years of old age, and it says, "Hi ma, bye ma," and they're gone. No milk drinking, no teeth growing. All of this is not there in Swarga. It's full for enjoyment. And then she knows. Vijay Goranga, that she has only 1 year to spend there, and before her body falls. It says that nobody dies in Swarga, right? So then if somebody dies, then the ground has to break open so that he falls through it, and then it closes, because nobody dies in Swarga. It's just like saying, nobody dies in this temple room. So as soon as somebody starts to die, we pull him out and then throw him out of the window or throw him out of the door and then close the door. See, nobody dies here. He dies there. That is how in Swargat works. So then he falls from beneath, and then the Swarga earth kind of breaks open. He falls through that. It closes again, and as he's falling through the sky, then just below Swarga there is a Rakshasa Loka, a Rakshas dimension. You can read it in Bhagavatam. If you carefully draw all the diagrams, you can find that just below, between earth and Swarga, there is a Rakshasa dimension. For them, it's food is coming, and they devour that body, and with a lot of pain and the tear from the eye, that jiva leaves his body, his heavenly body.
But he or she is already dead, yes?
Yeah, he's eaten. I mean,
But he or she is already dead when it's eaten.
well, the tear comes out. The tear means he must be conscious. I mean, it's just like, have you ever seen this the hunting of lions on nature movies? It is really like violent,
No, but who wants to live there? It's disgusting.
No, you are asking this question if it's still alive. If you see how a tiger or a lion is hunting, it goes slowly, see all these hairs of him, looks similar to the same grass cloud. And then he goes into a speed. And if you look how amazing it is, a lion in speed, running. And then he jumps, and he grabs, and he bites, and when he bites the neck, it's like the deer is already, surrendered. And you can often see in these nature movies, the deer is still alive, but half of his leg is already eaten. It's like that, no? Huge karma to be an animal. And people think, no, it's so nice, I don't want to evolve my body in there, into higher beings. No, I want to be a human. Who knows, you become a deer in your next life. You'll be devoured by a lion. Why? Because you like to eat beef, right? You like to eat all kinds of animals. Now the animals will eat you. And you're going to film you. This was the president of this country. Now he's a deer. Now he's being eaten by his opponent, Anyway. So yes, they're being eaten while they're maybe still conscious. But it says that, but through the tears, it's from Mahabharata, through the tears, the jiva comes out of that body, and he falls in a rain cloud. And in the rain cloud, that tear, tranen, it falls into a cloud, and it's a rain cloud, and through the rain, it comes down to earth, enters the ground, and is absorbed by grains, eaten by men, and then injected in the womb, and it takes an earthly birth, like that. It's described. Amazing. Right? So if you follow the story of how evolution is, it's not very nice to experience,
But that's how you fall from the heavenly planets.
Yeah.
But that's not nice to go to the heavenly planets, because that's the future.
It's nice to go to the down now, lower planetary systems, right? To the Bila Swargas. And you have some questions? No? Anything else? Grantaraj Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Over de Hollandse tomaten, die komen nu wel te eten hier. Want alle tomaten